Namaste to all of you. Jagdish here. As part of our conversations on learning for transformation, we are entering episode 15. Episode 15 is going to look into lesson 14 of the series. Some of you have really cared to look into all these conversations all along, probably you'll observe that we are examining learning as an interaction. An interaction, in fact, we are looking at two aspects. One is we are examining the theoretical substratum of learning itself, and another is as an interaction. When I say interaction, I mean to say learning is all about the interaction between any two entities. The two entities could be individuals, as it happens in the classroom, or the institutionalized processes of learning, like the child and the teacher. The teacher is an agent who causes education. In other words, the teacher is somebody who is an agent who actually connects the current experience, feelings, and theoretical underpinnings of life of a child to what needs to be caused in order to be benefiting himself or herself and benefiting the society also. It could be an interaction between the teacher and the child. It could be an interaction between the parent and the child. Look at this. All these interactions are actually covered by the worldview of the adult. Adult has a worldview about how child should be developing so that the child is successful, is able to survive, and is able to enjoy life. This interaction is something that can be extended to other kinds of interaction. The interaction between the inner world and the outer world, between the individual and the society, between the world of objectivity and between the world of subjectivity. Let's take one of this here. There is a world that's objective outside. I can see the tree. I can see that my boss requires certain things to be done. I can see that there is a way in which politics is happening. There is a projection on the TV about certain events that are happening in the world. It's an objective world. The subjective world is how I feel about it. Is it entertaining me? Is it creating anxiety in me? Is it creating confusion in me? The kind of things that we experience internally is infinitely different. Whereas the objective world, the world of facts, is quite constant. The interaction between the subjective world and the objective world is another kind of interaction. Now, if you examine, we were looking at all these theoretical substratum that actually causes learning. When I say theoretical, I don't mean to look at the psychological basis of learning, like behavioralism or constructivism or many other theories that exist both in philosophy and psychology. What I'm trying to look at is the question of pragmatism itself, something that shapes up life. Pragmatism is not a very ordinary term. I'm not using the word pragmatism as if it's being practical, as if it's being street smart or being clever. Those things are also important components of survival and the mechanisms of life. But here, I mean pragmatism as something that shapes up life itself, that shapes up the act of knowing itself. There could be two kinds of pragmatic approaches to life. One is ambitious. Second could be aspirational. Both are important, and both are something we experience as humans. What is ambitious? Ambitious is about wanting something unidirectionally. You want money, you want business, etc. You are out in creating something out there in the world, and that is what relates to ambition. Aspirational is a question of awareness. When I say it's a question of awareness, what I mean by that is, it is up to create something, and in that creation, there is something that adds up everything that you call life. Nobody wants to be very rich with a lot of diabetes. Nobody wants to be very rich with a problem in the child in our own family. So aspiration is that to have a life that is designed towards what really matters to us. Now, if you look at learning that is happening in the child, a child's life is aspirational. A child doesn't want to leave anything for chance. If you look at a child's life closely, the child takes everything very seriously. When I say a child, I don't mean a small child or toddler. It also means a teenager. Teenagers and all children take their life very, very seriously. Just that the seriousness that they look into is not matching into what we look at as the objectives of life. We'll keep conversing. How do we really convert this pragmatism into a real learning process for children? 5 minutes up, so we'll close here. Thank you so much for being with me, Jagdish.